Hi everyone. So there is obviously a lot going on in the news right now, all circling around the violence that is being brought against black bodies in the United States especially. And I've learned that the way that I process when those things hit the news cycles is it hits me very personally, it hits me very vulnerably, emotionally. And so I usually will get quiet for a while to process, to grieve, to feel and experience. And then usually what happens to me is then the words come flooding in, and then I just have a lot of stuff that I want to share and speak out. And so I want to dedicate and direct this particular video to black people out there that are struggling and going through it, and just wanted to share some things for you. So usually I like to be off the cuff when I'm sharing video content and giving a lot of eye contact to the camera, but this is so important in a different sense that I really had very particular words for this. So I've got my paper here, I'm going to be reading off my paper, and I hope that you will find this helpful and encouraging. Black folks are not okay right now. When stories of senseless, hate-driven, racist Black death dominate the airwaves and the news cycles, it is extremely traumatizing. Many of us as Black people are taught as children to be careful how we speak, given specific guidelines on how to interact with police officers, to expect to be dismissed and feared solely because of the melanin of our skin, our facial features, our hair textures, and the shapes of our bodies. Our parents gave us this training because of this knowledge that we live in a society and we live in a world that is constantly looking for reasons to dispose of us. So every time the news confirms the validity and truth behind these concerns so many of our parents told us about, it triggers a wave of heightened emotional response. Fear, anger, sadness, hopelessness. Dr. Monica T. Williams writes in Psychology Today about research that shows that racism can trigger PTSD symptoms in those who experience it on a consistent and pervasive basis. And that's part of the experience of being Black in America. It's a lot to process, and it's definitely hard. And if you, like me, are really feeling the heaviness of this historical moment and are having a tough time functioning normally, please know that you are not alone. This is my message to my fellow Black siblings out there. Don't feel that you have to exert energy to educate other people, even when they're your friends, your family, or other well-meaning people. Your energy is precious, and I need you to feel empowered to be extremely protective with how you exert that energy, especially when you may already be allocating so much of it to just trying to process current events. Don't feel that you have to respond to internet trolls. And as a matter of fact, I insist that you specifically not respond to internet trolls because it's a waste of your emotional energy, it's a waste of your brilliance and your vulnerability. People who are aggressively opposed to defending Black lives are very unlikely to respond positively to any sort of correction, let alone correction done online by a stranger, and then let alone correction done online by a Black stranger, if we can really be honest about that. Don't feel that you have to read every article coming out right now. It's okay to unplug. However you choose to show up in the world as your authentic Black self is enough, and you do not need to prove this to anyone. Do rest. This journey towards ending racism and simply living as a Black person is a marathon, not a sprint. It can be tempting to feel like you have to be in constant motion around this fight, and even a sense of guilt. You might feel a sense of guilt or shame when you feel emotional exhaustion. But if you don't prioritize rest, let's be real, you will burn out. Give yourself permission to take care of yourself and to take care of your loved ones. Do celebrate awesome things happening in your life. Usually a lot of great things are happening in the summer. There are graduations happening. Maybe you're having an anniversary. Maybe it's something as simple as you found a great deal on something you were searching for online. Celebrate that. Maybe you got outside, the sun came out, especially if you are in less consistent sunny areas like Washington. Celebrate that. Get outside. Find opportunities to express that joy. Black people living in physical, mental, and emotional health and celebrating joy, that is also revolutionary. particularly in a world that constantly communicates to us, that we don't matter and that we're disposable. We are so much more than our suffering. We are so much more than our pain. Do create. If you have any sort of artistic, writing, musical hobbies, I don't care how good you think you are or aren't at it, spend some intentional time creating. Art is an antidote to the consumption of news about Black suffering, and it can connect you even better with the processing happening inside for yourself, as well as increase your sense of inner peace. And I know this from experience. I create and I share a lot of art that I make with my camera, my computer, and sometimes through music. Do be intentional with rejecting notions that you should be superhuman and unaffected by all of this. Be kind, be gentle with yourself, be patient with yourself. Honor your feelings and don't judge yourself. If you felt nothing about all of this, then honestly, that might indicate a completely different set of concerning things going on with you. Painful reactions to the racist killings of people who look like us is extremely reasonable. Honor and create space for your feelings and for your tears. Sisters, I support you in the rejection of the strong Black woman trope. This stereotype strips you of your humanity and puts such a heavy burden on you to support all of us with no one there to support and uplift you too. We as men need to keep growing and confronting and eradicating our misogyny that adds multiple layers of complexity to the oppression and marginalization that you already experience being Black. I am committed to doing my part to lift that burden and not add to it. To my LGBTQ Black siblings, first of all, happy Pride Month. I see you. As a cisgender heterosexual man, I am sorry for the ways that so many of us advocating on behalf of Black lives have not equally centered all Black lives. Your lives matter too, and I will continue to learn from LGBTQ folks, and I value your stories and your experiences. I pledge to transform that learning into external action to support your Black lives too. As an equity leader, I felt pretty stuck this week. I felt a sense of pressure to add my voice to the multitudes that are already out there, geared towards assisting non-Black allies with responding to this violence against Black bodies. And I will add my voice to that conversation because I feel like it's definitely worthwhile and it's valuable and it's important. But I realized that I couldn't do that until first speaking to my Black siblings out there who are in so much pain, anger, and despair. I love y'all and I support y'all. And as illogical as it seems some days, I still believe that there is hope. I believe that things will change, and I refuse to allow the powers of white supremacy to kill my hope and my joy and my passion. Thanks for listening, y'all.